Welcome, Pat. Welcome. You're fired.
Yeah. Okay, Trump.
I thought it'd be good to throw that topic out today for several reasons that I want to cover again. And you actually brought one up just a nanosecond ago that said, well, if I sign an agreement with you to show me houses, I'm locked in for several months, right?
Yeah.
And what did I say?
No, you're not.
No,
or
it
depends. It depends.
And it depends. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of misinformation out there that sometimes makes you feel like you're locked in when you're not. And there's some things that you have that can enable you and give you some power that you don't realize that you have. And one of them is I'm really easy to fire. But let's start with the first one. There's a couple agreements out there that have gotten people confused. And one is permission to show. In other words, that's a new form that came out because of all the lawsuits out there that says, I need to have written permission to show you a home. And that form shows what I charge for my agent compensation. And that's also very confusing. And there's a whole nother video for that. But here's the thing I want you to take away on that form. I'm going to take you out, Pat, and I'm going to show you 5 houses today. And we have the agreement and you sign that form. Did you know that you can sign that same form with 2 other, 3 other, 4 other realtors for the same day?
Mm-hmm.
All you're saying is I give you, Rick, permission to show me these homes. I give you, Todd, permission to show me these homes. And I give you, Mary, permission to show me these homes. You're not locked into anything. And open houses, there's a lot of discussion about when you walk into an open house, that realtor's right there saying, oh, you're required now because of Arizona law to sign this agreement that so I can show you this home. Now, I say no, there isn't. There are people that say yes, you do. My gut tells me go ahead and sign it because it doesn't bind you to anything. Just go ahead and sign the damn thing.
Because a lot
the
of people
realtor's just trying to get your information, trying to get your phone number, email, just go ahead and sign it. It doesn't mean anything because as soon as you leave that room, that form is dead.
Okay, because everybody's hesitant these days to sign something.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Now we get an agency agreement. That's different. I found you a house, Pat. We're negotiating the price. We are under contract. The agency agreement assigns me fiduciary duties, which says, you know what, Rick, you're now my realtor and you have a fiduciary agreement with me, which means that anything I tell you, you can't share with anybody else without my permission. And I authorize you to make decisions on my behalf.
Is this
almost, but not quite like your attorney.
Is this like when you're negotiating the actual house? You found the house and you're right? Okay.
Once you found that house and we decide to write an offer, we sign what's called an agency agreement. Now, I work for you. Okay. Can you fire me? And
why would we want to fire you, Rick? You're such a great guy.
I've been fired before. I can give you several
I've been
reasons.
fired too.
Yeah. So can you fire me? Well, obviously you can. And I would say at the beginning here, see down below, read the agreement carefully for termination provisions before you sign anything. Read it. The realtor needs to go, okay, here's the agreement. We have an agency agreement here. I'm going to show you homes. I've showed you homes. I'm going to negotiate on your behalf, and here's what I'm going to do for you. And you lay the whole thing out. Now, if I'm not performing, there's a lot of different ways that you can fire me. You can simply ask me for a release. Rick, it isn't working. I'd like you to release me from this agreement, even when you're in the middle of the transaction. Now, I'm not a lawyer here, and I want to be careful not to speak too much legalese, but I want to say if you have questions, ask their broker and ask your broker. And because there are ways to get out of a contract, if necessary, speak directly with the broker. Sometimes you get into a deal and you've asked the agent to do this on your behalf and that on your behalf, and they're not doing it. You're fed up, but you still want the house. It's time to switch. But there are some things in the agreements I want to warn you about. There's one in particular that can really, really bite you. So let's say, Pat, I got you in this house and you love this house and you want it, but you hate me. It's not going well. And so you say, okay, Rick, we're canceling this. And we cancel it. And then one day later, you go out and get another agent to finish that transaction and get you that house. Well, inside of the contract, there is a clause in there that says that if this agreement is canceled, there is a period where you have to wait. You can't hire another agent because they don't want you to fire me and get your brother-in-law in there the next day. You can negotiate that up front, but that's in there. So you got to be careful. So you want to know what that is to begin with. And it's in the contract. But again, people don't read it.
Can I stop you for a second?
Sure.
So I think a lot of this has to do with too, like you just said it. Well, before just about 10 seconds before we got on, we were chatting a little bit. Like you said, we normally just get on and start talking. We don't have anything, that predetermined. But you were talking about how in this day and age now, people are back in the day. People get on Zillow, see an agent, call that agent, say, I want to see that house, right?
Yes.
How many times does that happen? Wait, you don't know that person. Why don't you take 5, 10, 15 minutes and talk to that realtor before you get into that transaction? Find out, see if you're going to, get along with that realtor. What is his style like? Is he a good guy? Is he or she a good guy? Or are they feel like you can trust them? Obviously, trust is the biggest thing, like we talked about in that down below.
Well, yeah, and again, I want to reiterate that in the beginning, when you're signing permission to show, you're not locked in. Don't worry about it. You can go out the first day and spend all day in the car and go home and go, "Whoo, boy, she was a handful." You can get somebody else the next day. When you get into the contract and the agency agreement, that's a whole different story.
Okay. Because I think, it's important. What do you want in a good realtor? You want people to call you back. I certainly drives me nuts when people say, well, I'm busy. Because, if I'm the lender or you're the agent and you say, oh, I'm busy. I know that's the badge of honor for a lot of realtors and lenders to say, oh, I'm so busy. But you look at their numbers, you're like, okay, you closed 3 loans in the last, whatever. The client doesn't want to hear that. All they care about is your loan, your house, or the house that they're trying to buy. They don't care if you got 30 other deals on the docket. I'm like, I just care about my loan, but it's about, trusting the agent, finding out. Also, I think the biggest thing that I've seen in the last several years is their negotiating skills. How do you ask them, how do you negotiate? What's your negotiating style? An agent should know, and your negotiating style. You're excellent at it. You listen, you come back, you're very calm. Jessica is the same way, Jackie, but the art of negotiating, that is an art.
Yeah, some people think it's just a matter of out yelling the other person.
Yeah.
Now, if you decide you want to sever your relationship with this agent, get everything in writing. Get the release in writing before working with another agent. Now, that release can simply be an email, Pat. I say, Pat, I agree that our agreement dated on blah, blah, blah ends on such a date. It was a pleasure working with you. In fact, you can start an initial email to the agent with this. Says, yeah, I appreciate your efforts on my behalf. After careful consideration, I would like to terminate our representation agreement effective immediately. You respond and go, thank you, Rick. And I follow up with effective today on this date. Our agreement that was signed on that date has now been terminated. You're done. There's no official form for it. You don't need it. You're done. And then you need to provide written information, the agent, that I am released from any further obligations under the agreement, because the agent needs it too. If I'm released and you go out and do something that the seller is going to think that I'm responsible for, I want to have clear cut communication that I no longer represent that client. I've had clients like that, like where I've called the other agent and go, look, I'm no longer associated with this client. We have severed our agreement. I'll send you a copy of the email, but if anything comes up, I am not associated with them as of today. They are batshit crazy.
Good one.
It has happened. Now sellers.
I wasn't expecting that come out of your mouth.
Yeah, well, it comes out. It happens. Sellers, check the listing expiration date. They all come with an expiration date. You see it when we look at number of expireds. They always happen at the end of the month. Everybody says it's going to expire July 31st, August 31st, 3 months out, 6 months out, 1 year out. Well, what if I want it to end sooner? Well, look for any cancellation or termination provisions. You can cancel. It's almost like you can fire me as a buying agent, but there's ways to do it to keep your rear end out of trouble. Our deal, Rick, has been our realtor for years. Ken Peterson, thanks, pal. And so it's you can cancel it now. My listing agreements, and I put this in here just so there's no muddy water. I go, you can cancel this agreement in writing at any time. I'll put an expiration date on it, and I'll put it 6 months out. I'll say, because chances are if we buy a house, we're going to be tied up for a couple months anyway. So let's just put it out there. But you can cancel this in writing at any time, because I've given you a list of things that I said I'm going to do listing your house. If I don't do it on day one, you can can my butt that afternoon. And you can just do it in writing. You can send me an email. But then look for any cancellation or termination provisions. Some agents may write some things in there. There may be something as a $500 fee. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff going out there. So make sure, if I can, and just ask, hey, if we decide we don't get along, even though you're my brother-in-law, if I cancel this agreement, what are my obligations?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing you see a lot of people, just to jump in here and give my 3.5 cents worth, is like you see a lot of agents or a lot of people hire their brother-in-law or their sister-in-law. And I see that on real estate Facebook posts on, like Real Estate Mastermind on Facebook. You see a lot of people certainly get butt hurt when, you're buying a house and you didn't use your aunt who's a realtor, or your uncle, or your somebody. A lot of times, sometimes it's not personal. I mean, it's amazing how many people I see. They say, "Oh, I had my sister bought a house and she used another realtor." Well, sometimes it's better just to keep the family out of the whole situation, because I've done loans for a couple, one relative, and I mean, they expect you. He was kind of a pain in the ass, to be honest with you.
You helped me dig up something once. I had this lender I could not ever get a hold of until 5:15 on a Friday. We're just trying to close a mobile home and he couldn't do it. And I was just getting beat up. And he was with the mortgage company that you were with, People's Mortgage. And you looked him up and you go, Rick, he's got a full-time job at AT&T.
Yeah.
I called him out on it.
Yeah.
I said, you're in the referral business now. What are the odds of me referring you to anybody?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
well, I mean, like I said, the people will use their aunt or their uncle or whatever. And, a lot of times that just is not a good way to go about it. But like, once again, it's,
now there's a lot of consolidations in our industry now, and a lot of lawsuits, and Zillow suing Compass, Compass suing Zillow, Compass buying anywhere real estate. Redfin gets bought out by Rocket Mortgage. Yeah. You can see here. And so now this raises a question for me, and I don't have an answer, and I'm probably not going to dip my toes into it too much, because I think down the road you're going to see some litigation here. And that is, here's my question. A lot of these guys are bundling everything, like Progressive, bundle everything together, your car, they're trying to do that with real estate right now. But the problem is there's issues that come up. In other words, I have an inspector. It's part of my bundling program. Well, what if that inspector's no good? And now you get to go, well, Rick didn't let me use anybody besides him.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my brain suit out. Redfin is now going to be told, be sure and let them go to Rocket Mortgage. Get their loan through Rocket Mortgage. They're going to quietly recommend it. Not going to require it, but you watch. There's going to be some lawsuits pop up that said, I found out later, I could have called Pat. I could have saved all kinds of monies on fees, but they told me I had to go to Rocket Mortgage. Now, Rocket Mortgage might beat your butt on fees too, but nobody knows if you feel like you've been hogtied.
Yeah. In the past, I found out that's not the case. I'll just leave it at that.
Well,
But it doesn't give them any options, though. I mean, once again, it goes back to like when people shop for rates. Yeah, you want to shop for rates. Yeah, when people shop for rates, they want to get the best rate at that exact period of time. I think more importantly, people lose the fact that when you shop for rates, call one or sometimes if you're a first time home buyer shopping for rates, if you call, the realtor says call these 3 lenders, you're actually going to confuse the hell out of the first time home buyer. You want someone you can trust. That's going to give them a solid rate, a solid deal. I get it when people want to shop, but if you take now, obviously, have I told this before? There's a difference. There's certainly a difference between retail mortgage bankers and mortgage brokers. There's all different types of levels of mortgages with people. I think I've said this probably a million times, but there's retail mortgage brokers or retail mortgage banks. They're internet, independent mortgage banks like the Fairway Guilds, People's Mortgage I used to work for. They got a specific, VIP. I know VIP is kind of rolling into the wholesale market. Then you got mortgage brokers. You got credit unions. You got banks like Chase and Bank of America. You go to a certain bank, they're going to have certain rates, and that's it. They don't have the options at a mortgage broker. That's why once again, you talk to a lot of people in the mortgage business. There are a lot of people that are migrating to the mortgage broker side because you just give people options. If I pull, I don't if I'm shop, like you have said before, I shop for the client. I don't work for a specific bank. Before I used to work for a specific bank, and I remember my retail manager saying, well, I go to him and I'd say, Tim, I'm at 5.5 on a VA loan. I just talked to my mortgage broker buddy and he's at 4.5. He goes, well, you just got to sell 5.5. Well, I call bull crap on that. I don't want to sell 5.5 when I know that I can get, technically there's 4.5 out there. That's crap. So, that's the problem is with banks, they've got limited options. Mortgage brokers, you got options. But when people shop, I think they just need to shop with the fact that, okay, I'm getting a decent deal. I'm getting quoted 6 3/8 from 2 different people. And there's this one guy that's at 7. I'm knocking him out of the equation. But then it comes down to 2 guys at 6 3/8. Who do I get along better with? Who's giving me more information? Who's, listening to me what I need to do? So,
well, how do I fire you?
Oh, it's easy. Just basic. I mean, they don't sign anything. Hopefully you don't. But, there's people, there's all different types of people. There's some,
So you don't have a lending agreement that has a start date and an end date?
No, we don't. No.
So I can just say, Pat, it's not working out.
Yeah.
It's that your rate's great. I get that, but good Lord, you just don't answer your phone. I'm going with Julie, and thank you. And we're done.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You can do that. There's nothing they sign. Obviously you want to have a lender that's, answering your questions. Obviously, if they don't, if they don't call you back, people get busy. So lenders get, if you got a couple loans, you try to get back to them within, half an hour, 2 hour, or at least if somebody responds, just say, hey, I'm tied up right now. I'll call you at 11 o'clock. People want some type of response, but it's not hard. The only thing with, obviously firing a lender, like if they pull their credit. And that's why a lot of mortgage people, as soon as they talk to a new person, they want to pull their credit right away. Because one of the biggest fallacies in this, this market is that, well, you'll get people, I'm not going to mention names, but it happens to start with an R. They'll pull the credit. And then I'm sure there's little sales tactics that they say, hey, if you go somewhere else, you're going to drop your score by, they're going to scare. The average person doesn't know. They're scared. They listen, well, if I get my credit pulled too many times. There's typically, I've seen that it's been stated, it's like typically within 2 weeks to 2 to 30 days, as long as you get a mortgage pull, you can have a mortgage pull a couple of times. It's not going to affect, because they know it's mortgage related on the credit report. But a lot of mortgage people will use that as a scare tactic to people like, oh, you don't want to go to another lender because they're going to pull your credit. That's the beauty of being a mortgage broker. I can pull your credit and use it amongst all these different lenders. So, but that's the thing is, but the only thing real quickly before I forget, the train runs through the train keeps going. Is that, I've had people call me with 2, like say a week and a half, 2. I've had people call me, say, hey, I'm thinking about switching lenders. I say, what's your close of escrow? It's, it's like, 2 weeks we could do it. But I've had people call me like, hey, I'm closing next week. I'm like, I've had the appraisal, I'm not happy. I see the rates have changed a little bit. I'm like, you're on that boat, or don't jump off that boat. You got to give the lender, if you're going to switch lenders, give them time. Even if they order the appraisal, that's not a big deal. If you're not comfortable with it, and a lot of times it comes down to pre-qual. Like, some people say, oh, I don't know if this guy is really giving me a strong pre-qual or not, if I'm qualified or not. I've seen that on Facebook posts. Like, yeah, I got qualified, but they're not calling me back. If you don't hear from the lender, obviously something, maybe there's something going wrong. But you typically, if you're going to fire a lender, you want to do it in the first week to week and a half. If you're, like, say, under a 30-day contract, if a lender's got 2.5 weeks, they can still get it done because it can be done. So, but hopefully not.
Answer me this, because I see, like, I get on here and there's, Mortgage News Daily, and this is a survey, 30-year fix, 6.5, right?
Yeah.
So then I scroll down and I look at all these different rates from all these different, Penfield, District 5.8,
Yep.
Optimum 5.9, Basis. They're all different. And there's Barrett 6.1.
And Price Mortgage, Andy pays for the service to get on that, where they basically upload rates. It's like rates are downloaded, and all those different rates have got certain buy downs. They might be, there's buy downs, but a lot of times I've had people call me off of those leads. Actually, Andy pays for something. He pays for a service. And even I've had to quote people like, hey, I saw your VA at 5%. I'm like, no, it's not today. I mean, I don't know where you're getting that rate. And he goes, it's on your site. I've seen rates quoted, and I would say they're probably wrong 8 out of 10 times. They're not even close to what you're really going to be getting. It's even our company, Andy buys, it's a service that you pay, the upload rates for what we can get. But that survey is from last week too. So rates move around every day. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
the big ones here, Quicken, Veterans, Neighbors, Rocket. They're not posting a rate.
Yeah.
Good move.
Yeah. I mean, look, and you got, like you said, you want to call, you want to call a couple lenders. If you call 2 lenders, they're giving you the kind of same quote, everybody's going to vary in fees a little bit. We don't have any underwriting or a processing fee. A lot of retail banks will have an underwriting process, like a processing fee of anywhere from $1,000 to $1,600, $1,700. So, and you got to realize those retail banks, they have to pay for those nice offices that they have, in Scottsdale. I mean, that's the thing. Typically there's some mortgage, brokers we run lean and mean in terms of not having our offices. You go walk in our office, we're one of the top mortgage brokers in Arizona. I know the guy that sits next to me, Andy Price, he was voted the number 1 mortgage broker, or not voted, but he was the number 1 mortgage in terms of volume. His office is right next to me in the office. I mean, our office is not, it's nice, but it's nothing fancy. We don't have chandeliers. We don't have a big conference. We have enough to accommodate what people need. So,
well, now it's another watch out too, because I'm seeing right now with real estate companies and realtors that they're adding admin fees, administrative fees that the buyer is asked to pay for, or the seller's asked to pay for. So it's up to you if you want to pay for that or not.
Yeah.
Not everybody asks for that. Personally, I just don't see why a buyer needs to pay a fee because you have a nice shiny office.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, but to each his own. I worked with one team member in a brokerage that I was at, and he charged $275 admin fee. And we all questioned that. How do we explain this to a buyer? Well, I've got staff. Yeah, but why do they care?
Yeah.
I mean, we're already charging a commission. Shouldn't that be built into that? And it ended up being a real sticking point with me. And one of the reasons that I left him, if I can't explain it, I'm not going to try and sell it. So
no, exactly. Well, it goes to the other side. Agents, I have a lot of respect for agents. Good agents. Obviously, there's good agents. There's good mortgage people or bad mortgage people, whatever. But I mean, quite frankly, what people don't realize, these guys, good agents, they spend a lot of time driving you around, prepping the house, cameras, pictures. There's a lot of upfront costs that these guys that they put in. A good agent is worth their time. They got the comps, they negotiate the right way. If they negotiate the right way, they might save you $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 off the sales price by being smart and negotiating. So, You know, that's
Well,
my,
I think having an upfront fee that's refundable at the close of escrow
yeah.
is not a bad idea, but it's not refundable if we don't close. Because if you're going to take me out and tie me up for 2 months, looking at every house, calling me at 3, saying you want to see a house at 5, I should be compensated.
Well, people don't respect realtors' time. Bottom line is let's just
No.
call it out as it is. People don't respect realtors' time because they've got. I mean, bottom line is like my industry's every industry's got some of a black eye, but let's face it. I see it. People pissing and moaning about realtors. I mean, like I said, a good realtor is a good realtor. There's a lot of realtors out there that do it part time that they're not as good, like we talked about. But a good realtor will spend time, like Jackie and Ruby. They spend time with videos. Those videos that she does are not cheap. They're $1,000, $1,500. I mean, there's a lot of upfront costs that realtors put in time and effort. And I've been in the business long enough. Yeah, if I had it with realtors, some days I've had it. I could up to my neck. But overall, I look back at the good realtors I'm working with. You, Jessica, Jackie, Ruby, and there's obviously other realtors I've talked to and worked with in the past. They're pretty damn good. And they do hang in there. Because it's still you're talking about a 4, 5, 6, 7, 800,000, $1 million transaction. You want somebody in your court, negotiating for you. But
well, I think you made a comment here too that said, let's see, you had it sent it to me in an email. If you fired your last realtor or lender, what was the reason? And if you loved them, what did they do differently?
Yeah, that's a question we like to pose the audience. I'll repeat that. If you fired your last realtor or lender, what was the reason? And if you love them, what did they do differently? I mean, that's like to hear what they do. So you want to talk about what's going on in the market real quick, or
throw that at me here.
Or do you have any real estate stat? Everybody loves your data. Everybody loves your data.
No data today. No data.
No data?
Today. Sorry. No.
All right. Well, I'll bore the living hell out of people real quick. I mean, the 5-year 5% coupon, we're starting to see it's firmed up here the last, the mortgage-backed securities, it's firmed up. We're seeing a little, flattening here, but we've come back since May 19th. I mean, these are prices, rates go inversely to prices, but this whole thing has been predicated on the war. What is Trump going to do every day? I mean, we've got the job numbers coming out tomorrow. We've got the unemployment payroll numbers coming out. That should be interesting where we're at there. But everything's been predicated on this war. I mean, one day it's on, one day it's off. It's been kind of stuck. Rates right now, I mean, we're sitting right now for my best price, we're sitting at about 6.5 as a cost of $1,200. I mean, it wouldn't take too much to get back down. If we saw an improvement in rates, we could be in the low 6s, 6.25, 6 3/8. We're about let's see, on this with this lender, it's 1.14. So if we saw bonds improve, we could get back in the low 6s with not too much effort, I think. But they've been stubbornly pretty much 6.5, 6 3, 6 5/8 range with no cost. So I mean, they've been still, they went up from back to the end of February, they were at 5.99, right in the high 5. They went up to 6.5. So they've been stuck in this low 6, mid 6 range. I don't see it really changing that much. It's like I said, it's predicated on every day, every week. I'm getting a little burnt out on this Iran crap. I hope something. I mean, it's kind of burning the hell out of me because it's like, okay, what is? I don't know. It's just, get it over with. I mean, if that does happen, I'm kind of a pessimist on this end. I think it's going to be going a little bit longer than we anticipate. Nothing ever works out the way you want it to, but hopefully they get it done. You're dealing with a regime that's more religious than anything else. They're not like you're dealing with a different set of human beings. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's going to be longer than anybody anticipates, and we're going to be stuck here longer than anybody anticipates. But back to the topic at hand, I don't want people to feel like they're stuck with somebody longer than they anticipated. I've talked to many people just go, we're in the middle of this deal. We're trying to get this price and the other realtor doesn't seem to be responding. I mean, you were telling me stories about one out of town where it just doesn't seem like you're being told the truth. And it doesn't sound like the other agent is pushing them. And when I hear stories like that, I just want to run in and grab it and go, let me take it for about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, hey, where are you at with this? What it's
Well, I got in the middle of it. I called the buyer and I said, do you mind if I call the listing agent to kind of feel we talked. I talked to the listing agent for about 15 minutes, and he said, you know what? I really appreciate you calling. I said, I don't want to get in the middle of this. I'm not the real estate agent, but I'm trying to find his financing, trying to do his financing. And I'd kind of like to hear your story. You know, what's going on? He kind of laid it out for me. I mean, it was kind of interesting. He's like, well, I'm trying to keep the deal alive because this guy loves the house.
Yeah.
And, he's been frustrated. And I'm like, you mind if I call and I asked you, do you think it's okay to call a listing agent? And we talked for like 15, 20 minutes. I go, yeah. I go, let's just try to keep this thing moving, see if we can keep, because he's got another offer and it's a bunch of moving parts. And he said, he goes, I've never, he's never gotten a call from a mortgage guy, that way.
Wow.
So, I mean, I'm just trying to get the guy loves the house. I'm trying to do whatever I can do. I don't want to sit there and puff my chest out saying, oh, blah, blah, blah. I always say I'm calling it a spirit of cooperation, not confrontation.
Well, if somebody really wants the house and somebody on the other side is not answering the question, somebody has to push the button.
Yeah. Call
you want us to kill it right now? We'll kill it right now. I just
call the elephant out in the room. Call the elephant out in the room. Like, what the hell's going on here? I mean, you guys are acting like two, pissed off sisters not talking to each other. And, it's like, okay, let's let's have a come to Jesus, meeting. So anyway,
Pat, it was good to see you this Friday. And
can I leave with that one story? Can I tell you that one story that real quickly? Totally personal. Sure. I told you about this. I don't know if anybody's watching this. There are millions of viewers out here. If they, I just had a personal situation this last week to our millions of viewers that are baseball fans. If anybody heard that story about the guy who, real quickly, he went to a game a couple weeks ago, Giants game at the Diamondback Field, and Chase went Monday, thought he had tickets for Monday, but he had tickets for Tuesday, and he sat in the left field bleachers. In the second inning, Willie Adames hit a home run. He caught the home run ball and went back Tuesday, same seat, same area, same seats. Second inning, Willie Adames hit the home run again, and the guy caught the ball. And I was over at my buddy's house, another buddy of mine. He goes, hey, do you stay in touch with AJ? I go, yeah, I haven't heard from him in a while. He goes, he's the one who caught that home run ball. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. My buddy Alan Johnson caught that ball. So, and I looked up the odds. It's like
caught it twice in the same seat,
the same inning by the same player.
Same batter.
Look it up. It hit national media, and I'm actually really good friends. I've known him for 38 years out here. I golf with the guy. I haven't seen him. I just saw him a couple years ago. I dropped some Phoenix Open tickets to him, and great guy. Him and his wife Mary Jane are just fantastic people. But I was like, my buddy Webby's like, yeah, that was Alan Johnson who caught the ball. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I texted him that night. I go, boy, things got to be crazy. He goes, yeah, I'm getting national media all over. So it's the chances of that happening are 1 in 70 billion.
That's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
That's pretty funny. So,
well, Pat, good to see you. And it was good we had a lunch yesterday with our team. So
yeah.
Jackie and Ruby and Jessica, Lisa joined us and Pat, what's my rate, McMasters. We had a really good time. I think we sat there and jawboned about an hour and a half. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Fun to get out. So,
well, always good to see you, buddy. Hopefully people can glean some information from our back and forth with this realtor broker, the realtor lender thing. So
yeah, if you have any questions, shoot us an email at rickhelps.com. And don't forget to use that QR code up above to get a zip code report for your neighborhood. Ask me anything, any stat you want to see with your neighborhood, and be glad to provide it for you. Till then, everybody have a fabulous weekend.
See you, buddy. See ya.